Okay, hello, it's Paul Green from the business community doing another Spotlight On interview. And this week I am joined by Wendy Tate. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Welcome aboard. So we're going to prod and probe Wendy and find a little bit about what makes her tick and how she's ended up where she is today, running her own business. So before we do that, Wendy, do you just want to introduce yourself and let people know out there who you are and what you do?
So I'm Wendy Tate. I'm Being Counters. We run a small bookkeeping and accountancy practice, and we work purely with the Xero ecosystem. We've been around for 7 years now, and yeah, it's going really well.
Good. So how did you get into business? What led you to where you are today, or what you started 7 years ago? How did that come about?
I've been working for a marketing company for 13 years, and the management team were put at risk of redundancy 2 years running. But I didn't really like the job anyway, and I didn't want, it was very target driven, and this will sound really funny now, but I didn't want my job to be all about the numbers, all about the bottom line. Didn't want a job like that. So I'd actually gone to university and done a training course in Northampton to become a psychotherapeutic counsellor. And I was just finishing that training when the second redundancy round came along. Although I wasn't made redundant, I just couldn't take the risk anymore of being somewhere that was so volatile. So I moved to do an admin job, finished that training, and then the new company offered to send me to college to do my AAT. So a different journey began, and my work did become all about the numbers.
Okay.
So that's how I got here, really.
So you didn't decide to pursue the therapeutic side then? It was the numbers that got you?
No, I mainly did it because I wanted to. My husband had gone through quite a traumatic mental health experience, and my main reason to do it was because the help that he received put him back on his feet, enabled him to carry on, basically. And I thought to do a job like that, to give that something back, would be an amazing thing to do. So I was just coming to the end of that training. I qualified, and then got sent off to college to do my AAT. Practically, this, as I finished one, I started the other. So, but I do find that it helps. I do find that clients do talk to me an awful lot, and then they say, "Oh, I don't know what made me tell you all of that." It has enabled me to be a listening ear and to have more of an understanding of people. So I think it stood me in good stead, even though I'm not actually doing it as a job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Certainly won't do you any harm, will it, having that insight, I guess?
No.
So we touched on this earlier, networking meetings. So what was it like going back to college in later life?
It was really strange. I did it as a day release. But I'm going back to college at the age of 45, and there's all these 16, 17-year-olds running around. So it did feel quite strange, but it was nice too, to sort of go back into education and do something that I never thought I'd do. You never quite know where life's going to take you, do you?
No, absolutely. So you mentioned AAT. So for people that might not know what that is, do you want to explain what AAT is?
The AAT is it's a qualification that starts from bookkeeping level. It's the Association of Accounting Technicians is the professional body's name, but everybody shortens it to the AAT. And it does qualifications from bookkeeping level right up to licensed accountant. You can go through various levels to complete that training. Then you can get your license from them and start your own practice.
Okay, and do you run the one locally? I know you used to run some events in the.
Yes, so I'm the chair of the Northampton branch of the AAT for my sins. I've been doing that for the last 3 years. So the previous chair had stepped down because her life was taking her in a different direction, and they asked me to step up, basically. So I've been doing that. We haven't done any events in the last year because of COVID, but we run CPD events and get-togethers, probably between 8 and 10 a year. and covering various CPD topics. We've managed to get HMRC to come and visit us and talk to us about VAT issues, and I helped to arrange all of those things.
Okay, excellent. And then also, again, related to the sort of networking meeting we're at this morning, where LLS was talking about PR, you got yourself in the paper. So do you want to tell people the story about how?
I did. That was a real strange one. I had a phone call one morning. I didn't know quite whether it was a bit of, you know, a wind up or not. But I had this telephone call from a journalist from the Mirror that said they want to do a spotlight on accountancy careers in their careers section, and they'd contacted the AAT, who'd given them my name as somebody that they might want to talk to do the piece on. So yeah, it was really nice. I was quite chuffed, really, to be chosen out of all of the members as the person to be to have my piece in the paper. And it was a half page, and it was really quite nice.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. You need to get it framed and add it to the ones that other things behind you on the wall, I think.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I do. They're all certificates on the wall. So yeah, I think I will. I've still got a copy.
Excellent. Well, you bought all the copies in Wellingborough at the time, didn't you? I remember. So you sometimes use the hashtag Xero Queen.
Yes.
So again, do you want to let people know what Xero is if they don't know, and why you choose that as a sort of platform as choice for you and your clients?
I've worked on several different. It's an accountancy software, so it's a bookkeeping software. There are lots of others out there, but when I started the business, I wanted something that would allow me to work remotely with my clients. And I'd looked at QuickBooks, and I didn't get on with it. I didn't like it, and I looked at Xero, and I really liked that one. So I used to work with several softwares, and then I decided that instead of being a jack of all trades, I wanted to be a master of one. So I decided to specialize in Xero, and I've been a Xero certified advisor now for 7 years. And I try and put tips and hints out there to help people use Xero better. And I'm always willing to, take a call if somebody says, how do I do this? How do I undo this because I've messed it up? And to just support people, really.
And you find a lot of your clients are already using Xero when they come to you, or have you had to convert them from other?
Most are. The ones that I've converted tend to be from Sage, and that's because they're looking to move from a desktop software to something that's cloud-based. Especially with COVID, the desktop softwares weren't doing it for people because everyone was working remotely. So to have something that was cloud-based, that everybody could access, and it was one price no matter how many people were getting on there, you weren't paying for separate licenses for every user. Xero came into its own, really, for people, and they're the ones that I've transferred most.
Okay, excellent. And in terms of your client base, do you have a particular target audience? Is there any clients that you ideally like working with? Is there any sort of like patterns there?
I like working with all my clients, cool. I have a really wide mix of clients. Everybody from I have a chimney sweep as a client, and I have somebody who does property and farming and everything in between. So I have a manufacturing business. It's a real mix. It is a real mix, but they're all small businesses. I like working with small businesses, and there are so many small businesses out there. I was having a look at some stats, and there are 4.6 million businesses that are owner-only businesses, which is amazing. And they're great at what they do, but the bookkeeping side of things and keeping the accounts correct is what they need some support with.
So you've shared some war stories in the past at sort of networking meetings I've been at. What are some of the worst things you've seen when you sort of like taken over a client? What are some of the things that you've been quite shocked or surprised that they've done or not done?
Things that I'm surprised that people don't do is review their direct debits. I took over a client who'd been using Xero for a year, but using it badly. So they wanted it had all tidied up and put together. And when I had a look through their direct debits, they were actually still paying £300 a month to Sage, and they hadn't used Sage in over a year. So that's an awful lot of money they were spending that they really didn't need to. So I come across that a fair bit, where people have signed up for these things that go out by direct debit. Oh, that's a nice piece of software. Oh, I might use that. And then they don't use it, or they start using it and they stop, but they don't cancel the direct debits. Mm-hmm. The other thing I came across was an account where the previous bookkeeper didn't really know what they were doing. And as a result, the bank was £250,000 out from where it should have been. And that took quite a lot of sorting out. So I do come across some real horror stories. But people think that software is easy, and it is easy if you know what you're doing, but it's so easy to just click on things, and then you've created a real reconciliation issue, because things then don't balance.
Yeah, it's garbage in, garbage out, isn't it, with software?
Yeah, exactly.
But wasn't the one story where you said someone had put everything in one ledger, whatever it was, they'd just put it in one space rather than breaking it down into different?
Yeah, everything had the same nominal code. Sales, cost of sales, purchases, it was all on the same nominal code. So you couldn't you couldn't produce a profit and loss report because everything was in the same nominal code.
Blimey. Scary.
So it is scary stuff, but if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. I couldn't go and wire a house. I leave that to the electricians. I leave the plumbing to the plumbers. But some people think that oh well, I can do that because the software looks easy to use, and it is. But you have to have an understanding of how it works.
Absolutely. So I ask people on these sessions, what's your why? What is it that sort of like gets you out of bed each morning and drives you and motivates you to fight the good fight each day? So what would you say is your why? I never envisaged running my own business for a start. When I started doing my AAT, the lady that came in to show me how to do the bookkeeping, I said, "Oh, you're so brave. I could never do that." And but now I really enjoy supporting other people. I think it's being able to give something back and support other people. And I like the fact that I don't like being told what to do, Paul, and I've got nobody to tell me what to do now. So that is another big why for me. That I don't have any. I don't like being told what to do. I better be careful then next time with you. Okay, excellent. I understand that. And there's a lot of accountants and bookkeepers out there doing similar things. What would you say helps distinguish you from your competitors? What makes you different from anybody else offering a similar service?
Oh well, I specialise in Xero only, so that is one thing. And the other thing is I try to talk to people in language that they understand. This is why it's bean counters, and it's not. I didn't want my business to be named after me or come across as stuffy or unapproachable. I wanted it to be fun, to be to people to be able to come and talk to me and ask me what they think is the stupid question, but it isn't a stupid question. So I wanted to be approachable. I didn't want to be stuffy, and because at the end of the day, it's about the client. It's not about me. So it's being client-centered, really.
Okay, makes sense. So as we're recording this, we're still in a pandemic. We're hopefully sort of like emerging from some of the restrictions in the not too distant future. So obviously the COVID-19 has been the biggest challenge for most businesses over the last sort of 16 months. Outside of that, in the 7 years that you've been in business, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you've faced?
Working on my own and making sure that I'm up to date with everything CPD wise, because all the tax things, it all changes so quickly. It changes every year in the budget, all the Finance Act. So what I've done in the last sort of 18 months is I've teamed up with another accountant, but believe it or not, she's in Wales. I met her once at a conference, And every Friday morning at 7:30, we have an hour of Zoom and we keep each other up to date on the finance, and it's just having that somebody to talk to. So that was my biggest challenge, but I've overcome that by having somebody to team up with who has a similar challenge, and we help each other.
How did you find that lady?
I found that lady because she's also works. She's also an AAT branch leader, and there was an AAT branch conference about 2 years ago that we both ended up at, and we just got talking, and we've become friends. And I speak to her 2 or 3 times a week. But we have our Friday morning Zooms where we go through. We've just gone through FRS 105 and all that lovely boring stuff that really isn't. Nobody else wants to read this stuff other than somebody else who's doing what you do. So I found somebody to actually collaborate with and do that study with. And that was my biggest challenge, actually keeping on top of all of the new stuff going on. But now I think I've got that licked.
Excellent, excellent. And the other thing we spoke about a week or so ago was your business in a box idea. So tell us a little bit about how that came about and what that is.
Bookkeeping in a box. That came about because I was talking to the very lovely Margot Clark. We had a one-to-one following a BuzzCon meeting, and she was saying how she had to put together all this compliance stuff, which we all have to do. We have to have procedures in place in order to be compliant with our professional licenses. But it's left to you to make all of these documents. So over the years, I've produced a lot of documents. At first, I thought it was a bit of a faff because it is only me. So what am I doing it for? But I have a business continuity plan. So if anything were to happen to me, my husband could hand my procedures manual to the person that is my continuity partner, and they could pick up the mantle and make sure that all the deadlines are met for my clients. So you have to have that in place. And Margot was saying that, you know, she hadn't managed to find the time to produce these documents. So I said to her, well, I've got them. Why don't I blank my stuff out and send you the copies and you can use them? Mm-hmm. So I did that, and she did pay me for them, but she told me that what I charged her was far too cheap. So I thought, well, if she needs these, other people may do. So I created some blank documents. I've highlighted in places where what people need to put in the various places, made it as simple as I can, and started a little thing called bookkeeping in a box. So you can buy all those documents and to get you started. You haven't got to spend hours and hours producing them yourself.
No, it sounds perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that's aimed really at anybody doing something similar to you or starting in business as a bookkeeper or an accountant.
Yeah. And so some of these procedures are just ones that I've come across as I've gone along. Like I had a client change their address. So there's a whole procedure on, well, how many different places is this person's address? You know, on their VAT record, on a company's house, on, you know, so there's quite a few different places to go and look and make sure their address is changed correctly. So I made a procedure for that. And as I go along, I'm creating more and more of these. And there's some template letters and all sorts of documents in there that I use that I now share.
Excellent, excellent. Right, you very kindly agreed to share some of your vast wisdom with us, Wendy. So I'm going to stick you in solo mode and just hand over the floor to you. And
okay.
See you on the other side in a few minutes.
Thank you. Hello. I wanted to talk today a little bit about tax returns and payments on account. I've had people come to me and saying, the taxman's taken all my dough. What's happening this year? And what people don't seem to realise is that once your taxable profit, your tax bill is over £1,000, you also have to make payments on account. Now, what those entail is paying 50% of your next tax bill at the same time as this one, plus another 50% in July. So HMRC makes a prediction based on your past tax bill. And if as soon as it reaches that £1,000 point, it's quite a pain point, because the first time this happens to you, you are paying this year's tax, which you're expecting to pay, plus another 50% on top of that. So it can be a huge thing for new business owners. So it was just really, don't let your money rule you. Make sure that you are aware of what your tax bill is going to be, and just keep an eye on it. And if it looks like it's going to go over that £1,000 mark, be very aware that you have to pay another 50% on top of that. Now, in mitigation then, last year, a lot of people, because of COVID, their income has dropped. So in the last 12 months up till March, they may well have earned less than they did the year before. And I think that will apply to a lot of people. But because of their last tax return, they've already got a payment on account to make this July. Now, if you file your tax return for 2020-21 before the end of July, so you've got a few weeks yet, and it turns out that you do owe less tax, you can actually apply to either reduce or completely not pay your payments on account in July. So it's really worth looking at that and looking at your tax and your tax return for this year, getting it done, because you may be able to actually save yourself some money at the end of July if you were due to make a payment on account. So if anybody needs any further help or assistance on that, and wants to chat further about payments on account and exactly how they work and how it's going to affect them, then please get in touch.
Perfect. There you go. Thank you very much. Useful stuff there. Useful to know. So final thing from me then, or final thing from me to you. From one small business owner to any others out there, what would be your one top tip that you would give? Well, just give any small business owner out there.
Be aware. Well, be aware of your numbers, but don't go it alone. Start networking. There are other business owners out there who are single business owners who are also going it alone, and networking is key. Networking's been key for me, for the collaboration, the support, and everything else that I've received. No, Paul hasn't paid me to say that, but it's been massive, and you're not alone. There are other people out there, and everybody wants to support each other. So just go out there, get the support, and join a network that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, certainly in these times, I'd endorse that. You know, it's a great time to network. It's a great time to reach out to people. It's lonely running a business anyway, probably even more so when people are confined to, you know, their houses or their offices or wherever they might be. So yeah, absolutely, I'd say that. You know, don't just I think every business owner needs to get an external input from somebody. You know, shoulder to cry on, ear to bend, whatever it might be, whenever you need that. And you don't have to pay for that. Of course, there's coaches and advisors out there, and other people that can support you. But I just finding people that, you know, are have a similar mindset to you, and just happy to be that person. As you say, you know, you check in with your lady every week. You know, that's one avenue for you. I think those sort of things are invaluable, really. Just having that connection, as you touched on, and you know, someone to reach out to when you need them. So. Perfect.
Because a lot of the time, any of the pain points that you come across in your business, somebody else has gone through that pain point, and they can probably help you. So you know, you might work on your own in your business, but you're not alone.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you know, my experience is, you know, small business owners, particularly when they're new, they think, you know, it's only them that's ever experienced this problem. You know, it's only ever happened to them. And, you know, from the hot seat sessions we do in the networking meetings, you know, when someone does take that opportunity, you often see other heads nodding around. So, you know, people have the same issue or the same business problem or whatever it might be. So, yeah, absolutely. Good advice. So, that's it, Wendy. I'm done with you if you're done with me. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
I'll let you crack on with the rest of your day, and I'll end the broadcast there.
All right. Thank you. Bye.